name is Erica Leeser, and I'm going to be doing my presentation on The Lovers by Rene Magritte. So it was made in 1928, and the medium he used was oil on. So in this painting, a man and a woman are illustrated with cloth over both of their heads. This creates a mysterious atmosphere in the painting as we don't particularly know why it's there or the purpose of it being a barrier between the lovers, preventing them from being intimate. In this painting, we see that the light source is coming from the upper left, which creates a shadow on the woman's face and the back of the man's head. However, it highlights this part of the woman's head and somewhat this part of the man's head. Magritte uses really detailed shadowing on the woman and really emphasizes on which part she highlights. However, when it comes to the man, he is pretty much just blended in. There's barely any highlights, even though he is also facing the light source. I think the only one that really is prominent is this part, his shirt underneath his suit, because even though there is no, even though the light source is coming from here, his suit is still pretty prominent rather than like this part of his head, which creates kind of a shape rather than it being 2D like usually how a painting is. Um, and so there's also a contrast in the colors between the man and the woman. While the woman's wearing red, the man is wearing black. And usually red signifies lust and love, but death is signified by black. So I personally perceive this painting as love dwindling away because of the cloth being used as a barrier from letting them love each other. And um the cloth and the ceiling, I think personally it symbolizes the fading of purity, as in purity and innocence of love, because while his shirt and this trimming is white, we see that the ceiling and some parts of the cloth is grayish, and this kind of um compares with the muted colors that the artist uses because this also symbolizes the fading of love, because personally I perceived it as either both lovers or one of the lovers having taken away their rose-colored glasses, when which usually happens um when like lovers first start to fall in love. They usually love each other in an idealistic version rather than like the impurities and all their flaws and stuff. So I think that this usage of the muted colors symbolizes the fading away of that idealistic version of love and seeing it as the way it is, because usually when love is portrayed, it usually uses brighter colors than this painting does. So, um, also the woman's cloth, at first I perceived it as her hair and as well as the man's hair. But the more I really started to add things up in my own perception of this painting, I thought that the woman's cloth wasn't wrapped as tightly around her as the man's was, because she is freely loving him while he feels a little more guarded in his way. Him wearing darker clothing and having a darker hue as him kind of detaching or pulling away from her, because although he's seen as more dominant in this painting, she seems to be more the confident one and isn't like guarded as he is, because even though McCray uses like muted colors, she's still the brightest one out of both figures. So I perceived it as the man. I perceive this whole painting as the man's way of seeing his love between both of them. How he feels like dejected, or he can't love her because of his rose-colored glasses fading away. So he's slowly detaching himself and like being guarded by how tightly wrapped the cloth is more than hers was. And yeah.